Thank you for stopping by the Random Green Podcast. Today's special episode is with a underground laboratory physicist in Gordon Xavier Zystrum. Now, Gordon Xavier Zystrum, you're a renowned, excellent physicist in your area of scientist, your research scientist for a secret government plan. And would you like to tell us about your not secret underground plan, but your experience as a research scientist for the government?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be on the best podcast in all the podcasts. Obviously, you're the Random Green podcast, and truly is a remarkable honor for my part. And obviously, I can't share undisclosed information from the secret government, obviously, but I'm allowed to tell you about the work I do. And it's very meaningful work, and it's very satisfying. After all, I have my PhD in physics, and I have a bachelor's degree in geology. And I got these degrees from Harvard University in the Department of Earth and Planetary Sciences. And I also have it from Massachusetts Institute of Technology under the Department of Earth and Atmosphere and Planetary Sciences. And I was top of my class 4.0, actually a 4.125 GPA.
Wow, that's a lot of success there, Gordon Xavier Zystrum. And I'm sure my listeners are blown away with awe and wonder after you telling them that. So, with that being said, they'll have to go to a break because obviously, with this awesome podcast, I can't do without some ads and some commercials. So, we'll be right back on the Random Green Podcast after these commercials. Ever tired of creaking in your house at night? Do you ever get scared of those sounds? Oh my gosh, what is that noise? Could it be your house settling? Call Northeastern Foundation and Repair, and we will only charge you $200 for the first initial visit. Yes, $200 for the first initial visit, $400 for the second initial visit, and a third required initial visit for $1,000. And we will begin work right away. Yes, call Northeastern Foundation and Repair.
Hi, this is Jason Alexander for Priceline.com. Here at Priceline.com, we want you to realize your potential when it comes to this. Yes, this is Jason Alexander, and I'm here to give you another commercial. Yes, your potential is unlimited with Priceline.com. We also have a very special discount for you fans of Seinfeld. Yes, this is Jason Alexander with another commercial. Thank you.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here again with Gordon Xavier Zystrum, a renowned physicist, geologist, and archaeologist. And you're also good at fantasy football here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I'm undefeated in all my fantasy football leagues. I have a really good fantasy football record, and I always choose the Baltimore Ravens defense. I always like to choose the Baltimore Ravens defense, and they always seem to turn out really good. They always seem to have some good defensive numbers. And it certainly is one of those things where I just am really good at. And I just, part of it is it's a little bit of luck. But when it comes to that stuff, you need a little bit of luck to win the fantasy football leagues, because fantasy football leagues can be pretty competitive.
Well, that's amazing. That is really amazing there, Gordon Xavier Zystrum. Boy, is there anything you can't do? Now, also, I heard you're a really good singer, Gordon. you got to give us some of your singing. I mean, I would be remiss if I wasn't gonna on this podcast have your incredible talents when it comes to your singing. So you got to sing us some songs there, Gordon. All right.
Well, okay, Random Green. I guess I'll sing some songs for you. This one's just kind of a made-up song. Goes something like this. Oh, I was walking once and I almost tripped over some rocks, and it was quite an amazing experience. I almost tripped over some rocks, and it was kind of cool, but I held my balance and I did that. It was pretty amazing. I was able to keep my balance. Pretty good song and good singing I am.
Wow, that was beautiful, Gordon Xavier Zystrum. There should be no dry eyes. Listen to that amazing voice you have. Such a clear, coherent singing voice. That was amazing. You must have record deals signed already.
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't. If you can believe it, a lot of people don't like my singing for some reason. Some odd, strange reason they don't like my beautiful voice. My singing is impeccable. I should really have, you're right, I mean, I'm a physicist, geologist, uh, astrophysicist, I'm an astronomer. Did I also tell you I have my astronomy degree? Oh, yes. Well, I minored in that, but I could have easily got my. Anyway, there's not something it's like this. Why don't people think I have a good singing voice? I will never know. It's one of those mysteries of life.
Yeah, it's one of those mysteries, Gordon Xavier Zystrom. But don't worry, after the millions of individuals that will listen to this podcast, I'm sure there'll be a record producer out there that will sign you to record deals. You don't worry about that. Obviously, even before you know, you're just in for a real treat. You'll get record deals. I will interview you in a future podcast, and I'm pretty sure once this podcast gets uploaded, you will be a superstar before you even sign the deals. It's one of those things, Gordon Xavier Zystrom, where if you realize the potential I have with these podcasts and the millions of individuals that listen to these podcasts on a daily basis, you will see the fact that I have made everybody famous. I mean, literally, if you come on these podcasts and get interviewed, you will be a celebrity. It's one of those things, though. It's one of those. It's a kind of a catch-22. It's like a double-edged sword. Do you really want to be famous? And you sign that waiver that you said that you would. Is if you when you came on this podcast, you signed the waiver. You signed all that those dual power of attorneys. When you signed those paperworks, you realize that the potential that you were when individuals are going to listen to this podcast, they're going to know who you are. And obviously, you are ready for that.
Yes, I signed that waiver, the dual power of attorney, and all that good stuff. Where I signed all that stuff that would help me to realize I just prepared. But you're forgetting one thing, Random Green, that I'm already famous, and people already stop me everywhere I go. They say, "Oh, there's Gordon Xavier Zystrum. You're that famous archaeologist slash geologist, physicist, famous singer." Even though that I don't have any singing records, of course, and of course, it's amazing. I mean,
Well, those weren't waivers or dual power attorneys. Those were just when I had you sign those were just autographs. I had a confession to make. Gordon Xavier Zystrom. Those were just you just signed your name for autographs for fans that wanted you to come on. And also, I have a confession to make that you are going to make me famous by you coming on this podcast. When people listen to this podcast, they're going to make me famous by you being famous. I'm going to be famous now. Gordon, um, Xavier Zystrum. Yes.
Well, I already knew those weren't dual power of attorneys or waivers or whatever you want to come up with, because I knew that it was just there was just blank sheets of paper. Obviously, I know a little more about signing than you think, Random Green. And yes, I knew those were autographs uh, because they were blank sheets of paper that were signing. You're pretty cool, Random Green. I mean, there's lots of YouTubers that don't have the numbers that you have, Random Green, and I'm kind of interested in starting my own YouTube channel. What should I do? I was thinking about, obviously, I think I'd call it maybe something cool like Gordon Xavier Zystrom's videos. Do you think that would be a cool YouTube name? That would be a nice YouTube name. And I thought I maybe could even start my own podcast on the YouTube channel as well. Do like live streams, shorts, just random videos maybe. Maybe I could just call myself the Gordon Random Xavier, or Gordon Random Xavier you Zystrum channel. Wouldn't that, don't you think that would be amazing? Wouldn't that be catchy? That would be really, it'd be kind of interesting and kind of unique. Don't you think that would be a nice, cool thing, Random Green? Where I could do that. That would be great, wouldn't it? Don't you think?
Well, Gordon Xavier Zystrum, I think yes, heck yeah. But I just don't want you to take away ratings from me.
Oh, are you afraid of a little competition there, Random Green? Are you?
Shut up! Shut up, Gordon Xavier Zystrum! What are you, nice?
What are you trying to do? Come up with a name to mock me? Random, random freak. I got you there. I got you there, pal. Yeah.
Gordon Gregory Zystrum, what are we doing? We should not be fighting like this. We should not be arguing. It's not about a competition here. Maybe we should team up. And maybe, yeah, that would be a great idea. Wouldn't that be, Gordon Gregory Zystrum? We should team up and do like a collab. I'd be on your podcast and you can be on my podcast, and maybe we could do live streams together. Perhaps that would be a kind of a cool thing. Let's not fight great Gordon Xavier Zystrum.
Well, I was all in for it until you called my middle name wrong. It's Xavier. You blew it, Random Green. You had an opportunity to go far in this podcast business and the YouTube channel business, but you blew it by not pronouncing Gordon Gregory? No, it's Xavier. Xavier. That's an insult to my grandpa's neighbor who gave me my middle name. That's an insult to his hardworking job that he was as a taxi cab driver in Boston, Massachusetts. You know? In the words of my grandpa's neighbor, go park your car in the yard. You know? I was all set to sign that collab on the blank sheet of paper, but no, you had to call my middle name wrong. And that really twitched me off. Now I can't stop thinking about my grandpa's neighbor, my grandpa's neighbor. Go pot, I don't understand. It's, he's from Boston and, I don't understand. We're all set to we're all set to collab together, but then you had to do that. Call my middle name wrong. It's Gordon Xavier, not Gordon Gregory.
Well, I can see why you're upset, Gordon Xavier Zystrum, and I honestly apologize. And you're absolutely right. It's not right. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to me. It's certainly not fair to your grandpa's neighbors. Your grandfather's neighbor, who was a taxi cab driver in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm sure he was one heck of a taxi cab driver. Your grandpa's neighbor who gave you your middle name of Xavier, not Gregory. I'm so sorry about that. Gordon Xavier Zystrum. And you're totally, absolutely right that I'm ashamed and I bow my head in forgiveness. And I really want to thank you for coming on this amazing podcast. I hope you had other than that, other than a couple of hiccups where I accidentally called your middle name wrong, and there's nothing I can probably do, and it's an insult to you and your grandfather's neighbor again who named your nickname Xavier, which is a very cool name if you think about it, because Xavier is not a really common name, and really it's one of those gem names where nobody thinks about Xavier, and it's really it's a testament to your grandfather's neighbor who was a taxi cab driver in Boston, Massachusetts, who was probably one of the best taxi cab drivers in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, I remember my grandfather's neighbor rode in a taxi cab, and wouldn't it have been that amazing if my grandfather's neighbor got a ride from your grandfather's neighbor as a taxi cab passenger, or your grandfather's neighbor was a taxi cab driver who drove my grandfather's neighbor, who could have been the taxi cab passenger. Wouldn't that have been like an amazing story? Heck, you can make a movie about that. I mean, the whole thing is amazing if you think about it.
Wow, there should be no dry eyes listening to this podcast. That's truly remarkable, Random Green. I think about it. There really should be no dry eyes listening to this podcast. This is one exquisite podcast. Truly remarkable. I tell you what, wow. Maybe I should sign that collab after all. Truly, I'm at a loss for words, Random Green. Uh, truly, truly remarkable story. Oh my goodness.
I know, it's truly remarkable how, but there's no need to sign that collab, obviously, because I don't go back on. I'm petty against petty people here. Now, I'm petty for you being petty there, Gordon Xavier Zystrum. And I'm not going to sign that collab.
Well, fair enough, you're absolutely right. And I'm sorry for being petty, but I'm now petty against you being petty for me being petty. You see, now, since you said that, I'm not going to sign the collab even if you gave me a Googleplex number of dollars. First of all, the Googleplex number of dollars would be taxed to no end. Uh, you know, and that's another reason why. Uh, did you ever wonder why the Googleplex number of how much? What would you be able to do with a Googleplex number of dollars there, Random Green?
Well, first of all, I probably would buy a candy bar, one.
Wow, you live life on the edge there, Random Green. That's truly remarkable. Number two, what would you do with the other? What would you do with the other Googleplex number of dollars? I mean, obviously, it wouldn't. Uh, anything else other than the candy bar?
Well, I would probably buy a USB port for my PS5 because that way I could play more games. My storage level on the PS5 is not a whole lot at the moment, and I really want to get more storage so I can play more games. Then I would ask my financial advisor if I'm able to live off that money, if I'm able to, if I spend it wisely, if I'm able to invest in it and able to save it, if I'm able to retire and not have to ever go back to work again. Would I be able to do that with a Googleplex number of dollars? That's just something you have to ask yourself. Something that's very important, and it's something that I would want to ask myself, and I would certainly ask my financial advisor. Look, am I able to? Am I able to? Am I able to live comfortably with the Googleplex number of dollars? It's one of those things where it's kind of one of those things where you just don't know, because is that going to be enough to live off? I mean, with everything, with the inflation and everything, gas prices, everything's up. I mean, would I be able to live off the Googleplex number of dollars? Because it's one of those things. If you look at the things, if you examine the things with the complexities of the dollar and the inflation of the dollar, will a Googleplex number of dollars be able to? Would it be able to cover expenses, living expenses, 401k, rent? Would I be able to buy things with that Googleplex number of dollars? Would I be able to afford things with the Googleplex number of dollars? Obviously, there's certain amounts of things. Ow! Ow!
Yeah, it was me. Shut up. Googleplex number of dollars is plenty of money, son of a gun. I tell you what, uh, this reminds me of my grandma's cousin's neighbor. She lived down there in Alabama, and she talked like this. She's like, "You son of a gun, don't you ever quit being silly." I tell you what, my grandma's cousin's neighbor did that, and she quit being facetious there, Random Green. I tell you what. Now I'm just trying to tell you what, this is not right. You telling me, Googleplex number. You can live off a Googleplex number of dollars. I tell you what, Random Green, I tell you what, my grandma's cousin's neighbor would be appalled by that facetiousness that you're carrying on with there. I'm sorry I had to slap you there, silly there, boy, but, I tell you what, you made a mockery of my grandma's cousin's neighbor. Well, she is a mighty fine, my grandma's cousin's neighbor. She was a mighty fine person down there in Alabama there, and you made a mockery of her. I tell you what, don't be facetious. A Googleplex number of dollars is plenty of money there.
Really? I'm okay. You're right. You're absolutely right. I just, I'm kind of tight with my money. I want to make sure that I want to spend my money wisely. I want to make sure that my money's safe. Like I say, Gordon, Xavier, Zystrum. I really want to, spend the money wisely. I want to. It's like one of those things where on these podcasts, I try to give my viewers education. I try to give my viewers awe-inspiring, awe-inspiring podcasts. I really want my listeners. I want my listeners to come away with appreciation for the statistics, the analytics, the education, the overall education that I give my podcast listeners. Like I say, there are millions that listen to this podcast on a daily basis. I get emails constantly. I get lots and lots of emails. When's your next podcast? I just got another email right now. As you see right here, see this right here? I already have. If you direct your attention to this other area over here, see that it says. See this where it says right here. It says, "When's your next?" Oh, so.
Wow. You really are a busy individual there. Speaking of busy individuals, I have to go to the underground lab. Uh, I can tell you this much, Random Green. It's been a pleasure. It's been an experience. It's been some education you gave me, even though it's continuous learning. Even though I have a PhD in multiple fields and multiple areas of education, I have again even a medical degree. Yeah, it's one of those things where I continue to learn and I continue to improve my way of working and being a geologist and a physicist. And again, it's always a good thing to learn, get experience, and uh, again, getting back to the all I can tell you is that I have to go back to the underground laboratory. It's about 3 miles underground, and I can tell you that much. But so, yeah, but it's been real. I really want to thank you for inviting me to come on and share my experience, share my, well, some experiences, not all my experiences. Um, but thank you very much for your inviting me on your amazing podcast. It truly is an amazing, awesome podcast. Boy, I tell you what, how do you do it, right? I mean, it's just amazing. But again, you truly are the best podcaster. You have the best podcast, period, hands down. And I'm going to take this down to the underground laboratory, and then I'm going to definitely have your podcast section I'm going to go through, and I'm going to look through the podcast, and I'm going to listen to all of them. I'm going to listen to all of them, and I'm going to share them with my fellow scientists, and they will probably be blown away with awe and wonder as well. And, well, they probably already, silly me, I'm so sorry. They already know you. They already know your podcast. Silly me. I do apologize. Yeah, but thank you. I got to get going to the underground laboratory, which is about 3 miles underground in northwestern Montana. I can share that. I was able to share that information. But thank you, Random Green. Gotta run. Uh, Not run literally. I just gotta go and get up and catch my flight to northwestern Montana.
Yes, thank you very much. You have a great flight, Gordon, Xavier, Zystrum. And I want to thank all my listeners for coming on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this podcast of the Random Green YouTube channel. I want to thank you all again. You all have a great day, and thank you once again for listening to the Random Green Podcast.
Hi, this is Jason Alexander with Cryptocurrency. For cryptocurrency methods, what is the best cryptocurrency method? Well, if you register at Priceline.com, you'll be able to get a 25% discount on your next cryptocurrency. Again, this is Jason Alexander. Yada, 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 yada. Hey.